We'll be taking care of PV every day. Taking care of PV every way. We've been taking care of PV. It's all ours. Taking care of PV and investing in our town PV.
Welcome to another episode of PV in Focus. So excited to have you either listening in or joining us on the video cast. Today we're going to be talking with one of our animal services officers, Liam Edwards. And Liam is part of our neighborhood services team. Animal services is part of that division. And so we're actually going to be going out and kind of driving around and learning a little bit more about animal services and what you do for our community.
Absolutely. We're gonna go have some fun. All right,
Liam.
You ready?
Yes, let's head out. So thank you for letting me ride along with you today.
Absolutely.
I am very proud of our neighborhood services team, the overall team, and then specifically animal services and the work that you guys are doing. It's a critically important service for our community. This is a very pet-friendly community. People love their dogs and their other pets that they have. And so I'm gonna just ask you some questions as we're kind of driving along. And so those that are listening or watching the video cast today, tell us a little bit about your position, and then how long have you been with the town of Prescott Valley?
Yeah, I've been with the animal services for just about a year and a half. A lot of fun, really interesting. Every day is different. Nothing's ever the same. And we just deal with something different every day, whatever comes our way.
Tell me, were you always interested in animals? I mean, what drew you to be in this profession?
That's one of my main reasons of why I got into this. One is just really for the animals. I like seeing them. They're really cool. I grew up around them. Just different farms, different things that I've dealt with growing up. And yeah, this was always just kind of a dream of mine, taking on this opportunity of a career.
And as an animal services officer, what are you, like, what are kind of your primary responsibilities?
So the biggest thing for animal services is to obviously avoid rabies. That's what we're trying to prevent here as animal services. We're trying to eradicate rabies and the spread of rabies overall.
Which is a serious
It's serious,
issue.
yeah.
And there are rabies. There are many animals that carry rabies.
Yep.
And they bite someone's dog, and then that can spread. And
absolutely.
And if a person gets bit with rabies, that's a very, very serious
It's very
thing.
serious. Yeah, it's pretty much almost lethal. As soon as you find out you have rabies, as soon as you find out, it's already a little too late.
Wow. Well, definitely want to avoid that. So, animal services, tell us a little bit about just the overall, department. What types of services, programs do you provide to our community here in Prescott Valley?
Yeah, so we deal with snake removal. You find a stray dog running in the middle of the road, we will go pick them up as best as we can. One, to ensure the safety of the public and that animal from, potentially getting hit from vehicles. So we want to avoid that as best as we can, and just ensure the safety of our public.
Okay, very good. So you said snake removal. Tell us a little bit about that service. So if someone opens up their front door and there's a rattlesnake or even a non-venomous snake like sitting right there in front of their door, what would you do? What do you recommend someone to do?
So you can actually call the non-emergency dispatch line here for Prescott Valley. That's the fastest way to get a hold of us as animal services. That way we can respond out there and take care of.
We'll make sure that
what's
number
going on.
is available to our public.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and ultimately we want our public to avoid the rattlesnakes. Now there is also snakes that are harmless and that won't really cause harm to you. You got your bull snakes, your gopher snakes.
So do you remove those snakes?
Yeah, we can remove as well. We remove all snakes. Whatever comes our way, we deal with.
I had mentioned, this being a very pet-friendly community, and so many people have dogs throughout all of Prescott Valley. And oftentimes I see people driving around with their dogs, and they'll, pop into a grocery store and they think, I'm just going to run in real quick and leave the pet in the car. Talk to us about the dangers of that, and it's actually can be very deadly during the summer months with doing something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So leaving your dogs in vehicles is actually strictly prohibited here within the town of Prescott Valley. If you leave your dog unattained in a vehicle, we do have the right to remove your animal by any means, whether if it's hot, cold, or
So
normal
if the
temperatures.
windows are rolled up and it's locked, you have the authority to be able to just break that window to be able to save that pet.
Within reason,
Within
yes.
reason, okay.
Yeah. If you can visibly tell that that animal is in distress, before we try and go into the vehicle, we will actually try and get a hold of whoever the owner is. Most of the times they're shopping in a grocery store or something like that. And it doesn't matter even if it's just for a few minutes or an extended period of time.
So you had mentioned that it is not allowed to leave your pet in the car?
You're not allowed to.
Okay.
By under no circumstances, animals are allowed to be left inside the vehicle.
Okay. So something that, reminder to all of our listeners and viewers that, we want to make sure pets are safe. People have love their animals, and it can be very deadly, absolutely in the summer months,
Yep.
to leave a pet in the vehicle. So
Yeah.
obviously taking children and pets out of the car is mandatory. The town just recently initiated a whole new pet software system called DocuPet.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us a little bit about the DocuPet system, and then again that the importance of getting your dog licensed?
Yeah, so DocuPet is our new licensing program here for the town of Prescott Valley. By what that means is it ensures that, one, if your dog ever gets out, we can get that dog back home to your residence. It also assures us that your dog is fully vaccinated on rabies. That way, if any circumstances happens, like your dog gets out and bites someone or gets attacked by another animal, you can have that validation of having your animal
so that proof
safe.
is very important.
Yes.
Talk to us about if someone has not licensed their pet and we don't have the proof of the rabies shot, what would, and it gets bit or it bites someone, what do you do then?
So if we can find out that that person's dog has never been vaccinated or is not properly licensed, typically if we're on an incident, we will give them a citation for failure to license. Usually it's a fixable ticket. However, we still take it very serious just for the safety of our public and other animals here within the town.
Okay. So we definitely, again, as for everyone listening, watching, we want to make sure people are licensing their pet, and the new DocuPet system is very easy. Actually just the other night I got a reminder that one of my dogs' license was coming up for renewal, and literally I could, with a few clicks in the app, was able to register the dog, and it was all done very, very simple. We also, there's a price difference within our structure for licensing, where if it's a animal that's unaltered, meaning it can still reproduce, it's at a much higher rate than an animal that's not.
Yeah, that's correct. Typically if your animal is unaltered or altered, that will vary the price of the licensing. So obviously the cheaper route is by having them fixed. If they are not fixed, it typically is a little bit more expensive.
Liam, are there any programs that you know of, and I know we've been wanting to talk about this as a service that we provide, but getting an animal altered, either spayed or neutered, can be expensive.
It can be.
Is there any assistance for homeowners that have a dog that may not be able to afford it, but they really need to have the dog altered? Is there anything that you know of in our community to assist them?
There is a few local organizations throughout Prescott Valley that can definitely help out with that. It also helps with simply as just calling around to your local veterinarians as far as where you live in, and sometimes they can give you a different or slightly cheaper price, and that's pretty much the best way that we found out about going about that.
Very good. But I know that we've been talking about trying to do some partnering with some of the local vets on doing some spay and neuter programs.
Yes.
So stay tuned on that to everyone that is listening. That'll I think it'd be a great addition to what we're offering, so that again, anyone that may be on a fixed income, or is wanting to get the spay and neuter completed, we would have an actual program that you could take them to and have that done. So Liam, talk to us about, a lot of it as we're driving around the community, if you see like an animal that's in distress, what would you recommend for people to do if there's a dog lost or it's injured on the road? What steps should people take?
Yeah, so if you come across an injured animal or a dog running around, or just an animal that appears to be in distress, you can contact the non-emergency Prescott Valley line. That's the fastest way to get a hold of us. If we happen to not be on at that time, we always have police officers available 24/7 to respond to calls like that as well. So anytime you call the non-emergency line. You can also call our main animal services line. However, most of the time we're dealing with calls, and there's only about 4 of us officers for the entire town of Prescott Valley. So typically we take it as best as we can with the assistance that we can get from our fellow officers. But yeah.
Okay. So you, with only having 4 officers that may be on duty at any given time, that may mean that you have to prioritize calls. So if it's a low priority, maybe it's just a barking dog, which is a serious thing. And I know for anyone that's lived near a home that may have a barking dog, that can be very, very annoying. So not to say that that's not a high priority, but if you have a injured animal, something that may take precedence, or there was an accident or something like that, you guys may get pulled in that direction to have to deal with it.
Absolutely.
We have several dog parks. There's a dog park in Mountain Valley Park that's available for people to bring their dogs to. I know there's some in the HOA communities. Granville, I know, has a dog park. What are the rules with that? Like, because I know every dog should be leashed when they're out walking, but in a dog park they can unleash and let the dog play. And
absolutely. So yeah, in a dog park where they're allowed to do so, they can unleash their dogs, let them run around. There is a few requirements if you are going to be bringing your dog in there. One of them, they need to be vaccinated. They do need to be licensed. Typically, there is a few requirements in order to go into those parks, though. Okay.
And then talk to us about the leash laws. I know I've seen that many times where someone's out walking their dog and they think their dog is very well behaved, and it may be, and they decide to take the leash off. What's the danger in that?
So the danger is really to the other people in that public setting with that individual. Typically, if another person is walking their dog and they're following the law, if that person lets their dog off leash and that dog runs up to that person, typically if any injuries, dog attack, anything like that happens, typically that person will be responsible for any property damage or health responsibilities.
So again, for everyone listening, we want to make sure that we've got a safe community, and we want this to be a great place to have pets. And so when you're out walking your dog, make sure it's on a leash, or else you could potentially be fined, or you could, if an accident occurs with the dog, you could be liable. So definitely want to avoid that.
Yeah. And for the assurance of all residents here in Prescott Valley, notate that a 6-foot leash is required at all times in a public setting. The leashes that extend over 6 feet, those are strictly not allowed.
Okay.
So anytime we see
6
those,
feet or less. Okay.
6 feet or less while walking in public with your dog.
Okay. So if someone's pet does get out and you guys pick up the pet, if someone calls it in or you guys find the pet, where do you take it? Where does a lost pet go?
Yeah, so anytime we find a lost pet, we will be bringing it to the Prescott Valley Police Department, which is where we will hold on to that dog for approximately...
So we have kennels?
Yeah,
we have kennels there?
Yep, we can hold 8 comfortably. We can hold 4, depending on how many dogs we intake throughout that week.
They go there. If someone doesn't claim a dog, though,
Yeah.
What happens then? Where does the dog end up?
So if a dog goes unclaimed, the dog will be transported to the Yavapai Humane Society, which is where they will also be held for an additional 3 to 5 days, depending on if there is documentation on that dog. So if there is a microchip on that dog or something leading to a potential owner, they will typically hold that dog available for 5 days. With no information on that dog, the max they will hold it for is 3 days.
Okay.
If a dog goes unclaimed, typically the dog will just ultimately go back into the adoption process through the Yavapai Humane Society.
Okay. So again, good reminder of why licensing is so important, because if your pet does get out, that tag and that microchip could help get
Yeah.
a pet back to you much sooner. And if you knew it was, because you probably scan for the microchip for each pet,
Yep.
if they have it, it would come up with the owner's name and address, and you could make contact right away and bring the pet back.
Yes.
I've heard so many stories of you guys, like, finding, pets and getting them back. Most pets are returned back to the owner, right? I mean, you guys have done a good job at really trying to return.
Majority of the dogs we do pick up, majority of them go back to their owners.
That's great.
Definitely with the holding space that we have at the police department, it helps out with us being able to return those dogs back rather than bringing them straight to the Humane Society. So it gives the owners an opportunity to collect their dog.
Mm-hmm. Now, you guys have also been participating with different community events, just trying to educate. You do a lot of education.
We do.
Do you do any outreach to schools and those types of things?
We try our best to. If schools would like us there, we're more than happy to be there and do some educational things. I know the most recent thing that we've been kind of going down is we'll go into your local HOAs and we'll actually do a little HOA meetings over there. And from there, we'll go ahead and explain, what Animal Services is, what services we provide. That way the public is aware of what we're here for.
Okay, very good. Now, I also know, there are people that are sometimes really fascinated with lots of different types of exotic pets.
Yeah.
What are the rules with that? And I know you guys have seen some interesting pets.
We have. Typically with your exotics, they are majority of the time strictly prohibited unless if you're authorized through.
It's like a permit.
You need some form of permit through the Arizona Game and Fish. Typically, they're the ones that would allow exotic animals, but most of the time they're strictly prohibited from owning.
Okay. So when you come across something like that, does Game and Fish get involved, or is it confiscated?
If necessary, we will have Game and Fish assist with us. Most of the time, it's not fully necessary, though.
Okay. So it could be something that's imported into the country from somewhere else, not a domesticate like a dog or a cat, but
yeah.
Okay. So you had mentioned barking dogs at one point, and if you've got a neighbor or someone in your area and the dog just it continues to bark, what are the rules around that? What should someone that does have a dog that may have a barking issue, anxiety issues, what do they need to be aware of?
Yeah, so if it appears that a dog is in distress and it's barking excessively, we do actually have a law here in Prescott Valley, also called disturbing the peace. Anytime a dog excessively barks for over 5 minutes consecutively, that is actually a form of disturbing the peace here within the town limits.
So that's a citable type thing. So either Animal Services or the police department would be able to be involved in a case like that?
Yeah, so typically we don't go directly to citation. We'll actually first start off with trying to have the neighbors be a little bit more friendly, trying to have them correlate with each other. However, if it's a little unsafe for one other party or if they just ultimately can't get along, the one thing that we can do whenever we get involved is we'll go out there, typically try and make contact with those residents and let them know that of the overall situation. Most people aren't fully aware that their dogs are barking because either they're working or sometimes they just don't hear it and they're not super aware of what's going on around their residents.
Liam, you mentioned something I think that is so important for everyone that's listening to this episode is the care that you guys take is really, it's about a passion for the animals, but it's not about just enforcement, and it's about education. It's about trying to get neighbors to work with one another to resolve some of these, sometimes the conflicts that may occur. And I really appreciate that you guys, it's not about just going out there and giving someone a citation,
Yeah.
but how do we correct it, how do we educate, and that type of stuff.
Yeah. Before we go to citations, the biggest thing we want to try and do is educate them, the folks of Prescott Valley. That way they're fully aware of their rights and their understandings of how our laws work here in the town.
Because we want to respect, individual rights, but also, I mean, your whole mission is about protecting animals and making sure it's a safe community for all to live in. And
Absolutely.
and I think that's what drew you to this profession, is your love for animals. And I think we all, as a fellow dog owner, we all want to make sure that our pets are well cared for, and that there's the necessary tools and resources for them to be able to care for their animal.
Yeah, absolutely.
You would, we've got a website that has a lot of good information on. So we've got do we have frequently asked questions? We've got the portal to the DocuPet. Can you tell us the website?
Yeah, so in order to get access, just need a smartphone or a computer. One of the two works perfectly fine, and all you have to look up is prescottvalley-az.gov/animal services. Through that website, that's where you can find all information pertaining to animal services and what we do and what services we actually provide for the town. That also includes the pet licensing, DocuPet. That's also where you can find.
So all of that information. So if you just have moved here and you've not had a chance to register your animal, license your animal, you could go to our website, prescottvalley-az.gov/animal services. And if you just get to the Town of Prescott Valley website, you can easily go into also through neighborhood services and animal services, which will be listed as some of our departments in there.
Yep.
And then from there, it's pretty easy. You just kind of click, put in your
pretty straightforward, put in your information, and there you go.
Very good.
There you go.
Liam, it has been great being out in the community with you, actually driving around. And
Yeah.
we didn't happen to see any wild animals loose. You had promised that we were going to, see some marauding javelina coming through a neighborhood or something.
We were hoping so. Unfortunately, we didn't get there.
But we didn't get to see that.
Unfortunately not. But thanks for having me. I really appreciate you riding along and kind of getting a better understanding of what we do as animal services.
Thank you. Thank you for the work that you do on behalf of all of our community, and I really appreciate you helping to make sure that we have a safe community and that our pets are well cared for.
Absolutely. That's
Thank
what
you.
we're here for. Thank you.
Awesome.
We'll be taking care of people.